Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, welcome. My name is Monica, and I saw this tag going around lately, but it was made, I think, a couple of years ago. It was before I got onto BookTube, and the original creator was Jess from Peace Love Books. So I will link her channel and the original video down below. But this is the historical romance tag. So let's just get into the questions. But the first question is, what was the first historical romance you ever read? Easy question for me. I was at college and my roommate had a hard copy of The Wedding by Julie Garwood. It's Connor and Brenna's story. It's medieval and it was Stealing the Bride, and I loved it. I asked if I could borrow it one night and she's like, yeah, absolutely. So I read it, and I read it in one sitting and I really loved it. I gave 5 stars. If I was rating back then, and I wasn't, but I was like, oh my gosh. And that's when I took a deep dive into historical romance, and I've never stopped reading historical romance. So this is the second book in the Bride series. The first book is The Bride, and that's mostly everybody's favorite, but I really like The Wedding. I like Brenna's character. She is flighty, but she's also very passionate. She's the one who started the original. So when she was a little girl, she asked Connor, who was a grown man at the time, if he would marry her, because he saved her from something. Anyway, when the book opens, Brenna's being sold off to McNair, who's really a bad guy, and Connor decides to steal her, and he's like, and he goes up to her, he's like, yes, I will marry you, and then kisses her, and she's like, what the heck, who are you? Because she didn't really remember it. Then she's like, I was a little girl when he explained it. He basically coerced a monk, I think it was, or a friar or something. It was he was part of the clergy to marry them, and then on their wedding night, he wanted to consummate around all his men, and she's like, no. It was really fun. I loved their banter and their dynamic. It was a really, really good story. I highly recommend it. So question number 2 is, what is the last historical romance I read? And that would be Come the Morning by Heather Grant. This one is a lot of fun. This one is also, funny enough, a medieval romance, and it's in Scotland. There's no theme here. It just happens to be the very first one I read and the very last one I read. It's an arranged marriage, and our heroine is also spicy. She's like, I am not going to marry this guy, even though the king decreed it. And he's like, yes, you are going to marry me because the king decreed it. He had a mistress that he wanted to marry. She had a guy that was kind of like a childhood friend to lover that she wanted to marry. And the king's like, nope, you guys are going to marry each other. Warwick, he was the, I think that was his name. Anyhow, he was going to get her in her land as a prize because of all his noble and war abilities. He's a really, really good fighter and stood up for the king at this time. And she runs away, he chases her. She runs away, he chases her. She gets kidnapped, he chases her. She gets kidnapped, he chases her. I had a lot of fun with this. It was a lot of fun. I gave, I think, 4 stars or 4.5 stars. It was just so much fun. Number 3 is, who is the most underrated historical romance author you wish more people would read? That would be Anna Harrington. The first book I read of hers was If the Duke Demands. So If the Duke Demands is about Miranda Hotchkiss. She is in love with her best friend and he doesn't know it. So she decides to dress up at a masquerade. She decides to dress up a little provocatively for that time. Anyway, so she decides to slip into her friend's bed, but she doesn't slip into her friend's bed. She slips into his older brother, who's the Duke's bed. And they start something until she realizes who she's kissing. And she's like, no, 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 no. And it is their story. He tries to help her win over his brother, but they end up falling in love. I just really liked that one. That one was so much fun. I think Anna Harrington is a really good historical romance author, and I kind of wish more people would read from her. Question number 4 is, what historical romance author you haven't read yet but need to? Judith McNaught. I haven't started her. I've been meaning to. She doesn't have audiobooks, so that's kind of part of the problem. However, I want to read Whitney, My Love, but I want to read the original, not the edited version, so I actually have to physically read that. Number 5 is, what historical romance would you recommend to people who are new to the genre? Okay, so everybody's saying Tessa Dare. I don't want to say Tessa Dare because everybody's saying Tessa Dare, so I'm going to have to say my place that I would start if I were you guys, Lisa Kleypas's Hathaway series. And that is a 5-book series, so it's not long. It's very readable. The characters are very interesting. I love all the characters in that series. I feel like it is one of the more iconic series that is bingeable, readable, and easy to digest, easy to understand, and there's nothing truly problematic about it. Unlike Whitney, my love. So yeah, I would, if I wasn't gonna say Tessa Dare, I'd say the Hathaway series by Lisa Kleypas. Question number 6. What is your favorite historical romance of all time? I don't know. I really don't. I mean, some of my favorites is Love in the Afternoon by Lisa Kleypas. That is book 5 in the Hathaway series. That's Beatrix and Christopher Palin. I love that starts with epistolary, and I've talked about this a lot on my channel. She is kind of a kleptomaniac, and he has PTSD from the war, and they in a secret identity, and I loved it. Another one I would absolutely say is Devil in Winter. That one's iconic. I really enjoyed that one. That's also by Lisa Kleypas. Like, this is a hard question. This is a hard question because I have my top favorites, and these are some of my top favorites. I really liked The Wolf and the Wildflower by Stacy Reid. This one, it was a Tarzan retelling. He comes back from being lost in the Canadian wilderness, and he's a duke. She is pretending to be a boy because her father was told that she was a boy, so her mother would not be pressured into having another baby, because if she had another baby, she'd probably die. And that one was just so well written and well done. My Darling Duke by Stacy Reid. Love that book. That one is The Beauty and the Beast retelling, and she wrote that she was going to marry this duke, and he's like, I don't know you, who are you? So he comes down to London to see who she is. I also read a lot from Teresa Medeiros. I've been starting on Lorraine Heath's stuff. The Notorious Lord Knightley, that is absolutely top tier, one of my favorites. That one, I'm not going to get too much into because I want you to read it. I'm sure you've already read it by now, but that one is one of my absolute favorites. So yeah, I can't say I just have one, because it's like picking out your children. Who is your favorite child? And I can't do that with this because I just love them all. So question number 7 is, do you prefer new school or old school romances? I like them both. I really don't care. I like them both. The thing with the newer romances, they're more easier to read and they're less problematic, but I love the passion and the soap opera-esque-ness of the older ones, and they're just a good time. So question 8 is, what is your favorite historical romance tropes? Secret identity, marriage of convenience, wallflower plus rogue equals a good time, mutual pining, class difference. I love a good class difference. I love the drama of class difference and mutual pining and forced proximity. And I'll even put in some pirate ones because I like pirate. Gentle Rogue was really good. I loved it. So number 9 is, what is your favorite historical romance settings? I'm a basic person in this one. Give me ballrooms and the Highlands, because those are the two things. There's only a few that's really worked for me outside of that, and it's mostly Joanna Shupe's stuff, which is the Gilded Age, as well as Harper St. George's Gilded Age. Those work for me, and some of the pirate romances, but those are few and far between because most of the time I'm just like, you're an idiot. So I don't know. I'm basic. Give me ballrooms and the Highlands. Question 10 is, what is the oldest historical romance I own? And that is The Wolf and the Dove by Kathleen E. Woodiwiss. And this one, it even has the sprayed edges. And this one is 1974. Before my parents were even married, this was published. So yeah, this is old. Yes. So question 11 is, what historical romance releases am I excited for? So I could only think of one right now. Eloisa James's Viscount in Love. The cover, gorgeous. But it's about two, let me get it up. It's two eccentric orphans bringing together a grumpy viscount and a free-spirited heroine who steals his heart in the first novel of Eloisa James's new Accidental Bride series, in which haughty aristocrats find themselves married to the wrong women. That's why. He wants a nanny, not a bride. Suddenly, guardian to twins, Viscount Dominic Kilbourne is luckily betrothed to a suitable lady until she elopes. With no time to woo, love that word, Dominic decides to marry his fiance's unconventional sister. Tori isn't perfect, and their kisses are so passionate that the society thinks he's actually chosen her. She wants to marry for love. Tori has never been able to make sense of words on a page, so she has turned her talents to art. She longs for a man who values her as she is, but she marries for the sake of the twins. She doubts Dominic is capable of love, let alone respect, but as their heated debates turn into something more, Tori begins to imagine a life as a wife, not a nanny. But when the arrogant Viscount finds that his Viscountess has stolen his heart, he'll have to give all he has to win her love. And honestly, it comes out this month. And if you're reading this, if you're watching this now, when I publish this, it comes out on July 28th, 2024. And I am so excited for this one. It just sounds like so much fun. And I really do love a good single dad and nanny trope. And I love a marriage of convenience trope. So this, I'm all excited for. And it looks really good, really good. Besides, look at that cover. A man cover, not a cartoon cover. So the last question, question 12, is what creators duo I follow for historical romance recommendations? I would have to say Samantha from Books with Samantha, Christi from Christi Reads a Lot, Crystal from Crystal's Bookish Life, Jess from Peace Love Books. All of them read a lot of historical romances, and they have a lot of good insights on what they're reading, and they can break down the books really well. And I just really love what they have to say, and I love their recommendations. So those are who I follow for historical romance recommendations. Anyway, so if you want to do this tag, by all means do this tag. I thought it was fun. I'm glad to see it had a resurgence, and I think more people, if you read historical romance, absolutely you should do this tag. If you made this friend's video and you want to let me know that you're here, but you don't want to answer any questions or make a comment, totally fine. Please leave me a cat emoji, because my cat Rosie has been sitting here staring up at me or eating treats or just doing her cat thing while I've been filming this video the whole entire time. And until next time, my friends, happy reading. Bye.